I don't know,
There you
my
go.
wife hates this song now.
Thanks. Yeah, well,
No, he is on Zoom. Mark White.
Okay, love the spin doctors, by the way, thank you.
Thank you.
So, what is his name? Mark White.
Mark White.
Mark
hello
White,
guys. I'm here. I'm just watching. I want you guys to start seeing stuff that I haven't seen yet. So I'm going to start live streaming.
Hey, Mark, right? Mark White or Mike White?
Mark White.
Mark White. Okay, Mark White, you need to come to South Florida. We have the best bands down there, and every band I work with are freedom-loving American patriots. He's in Texas now.
Well, then you wouldn't have far to drive. Uh,
Oh, boy. Well,
Hello,
in South Florida,
hello.
all of the bands that I play with are all conservatives. So great.
What do you play?
I don't play. I film all the bands in Florida. Oh, cool. I mean, not all of them, but I go to different venues and I just get my camera out and show everybody what it looks like.
And this way you can see this one, and then you can see me on the second half of this
We
one.
cover 80s music, a little bit of Southern rock, the stuff that we grew up.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is the red, white, and blue.
People get upset because why?
Because they mispronounce the cities.
Oh, Ocala. I've never heard them say Ocala. Kissimmee, yeah, Kissimmee.
What do you do with Brooke?
There you go.
What do you know, we're broadcasting from Ron Concola, right?
Yeah.
Bonnie, yeah,
Whereas my friend Jason talks about
Now, come on. Now I can say it now. I've been busy
yeah,
practicing. Okay, here we go, guys.
like the boss said to you. Okay, that is cool. All right, so it's gonna start now.
yes, Glenn.
Here.
On the camera.
Okay, good. Now I can say
Yeah, because the two cameras behind you on the right are playing.
Okay.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Red, Right, and True, where we tell you all the truth, all the time, no BS around here.
No, none whatsoever. You won't find it.
And I'm going to introduce my co-host. I'm Bonnie Scalisi. Then, of course, we have Joe
Good
Curry,
evening, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Patriot Box,
Hello, everyone.
Mark White,
Good evening. Happy birthday, Mark White's birthday
Yes,
yesterday.
yesterday was Mark White's birthday, so we want to say
Woo-hoo!
happy birthday.
Did you know 1977 I had all sevens?
Ooh,
777.
very
And
cool.
then 2007 I had the same date. 0707.
Wow. And numbers are, they mean things to people, so that's very cool.
And every time I had a 5 in my age, 15, 45.
Very cool, Mark.
Yeah.
These are birthday facts from
So
Mark.
why 7 day? You can't beat
No.
that day. Beautiful. I can't everything 77.
No, anyway, we have wonderful guests. We have two guests, but we're going to put them in two different segments. So
I didn't see any
we're
sign.
going to have Jill Crowe, and we're going to have Jamie Crowe the last two segments. So let's introduce our guest, Jill Crowe, and as you can see, she has a beautiful book on display. And we're going to start by, we're going to definitely talk about your book, but we wanted to start with Asset One, if you could have that up, because we want to talk about President Trump and what a wonderful job he did on the speech. It was amazing. Michael and I were watching together. And
Patriot box.
Patriot.
Michael is, well, Michael's
I have a
boyfriend.
Patriot box.
It is not Patriot box, it is not Patriot box.
Within the first 30 seconds, everyone does a shot.
No, so, I don't know if we're gonna get the asset up.
Let me be clear,
There.
July 4th is not the 250th anniversary of America becoming an independent country. July 4th is the 250th anniversary of America stealing this nation, stealing this land from Native people while simultaneously spreading disease to those Native people, killing and raping those Native people to be able to call America their home. I love you.
I love how she is, I love you at the end.
Now, what was her name? Sunshine?
If I may paraphrase Foghorn Leghorn, not good, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice.
Well, what's upsetting is that, that was bad, but I was really upset by Mandari's speech on July 4th. I almost threw up when I heard it. And the fact that we had, Americans on there, who I guess were new citizens, they were holding tiny Americans back.
Nice.
How horrible our country.
But
That's how I interpret it.
But did you see like the way the gathering was? It was
And the desk was backwards.
it was pathetic looking.
Did he do that on purpose for the desk backwards?
I
So it's this backwards.
It,
He did one, right?
yes.
That's what I thought.
He hates America. He hates America, and his only goal is he was inserted into the country so he could start destroying it.
Absolutely.
To another country, you can't trust it. He also criticized ICE, surge in immigration and customs enforcement operations, displaying masked agents terrorizing our streets.
Well, he just was like, couldn't he just save that speech for another time? Couldn't he let it go on our 250th birthday of the greatest country in the land? And as somebody who I know just did very.
And you can get the microphone so you guys can hear better. It'll take it all away.
Became the mayor of one of the biggest cities, in the country. That's what we see. And Jill, you said you wanted to add to that.
Okay, so it is now coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and seeing the way New York City has evolved into communist, democratic socialism, which we all know. Yes, I know. Yeah, I can't sugarcoat it. That's what they're trying to do. And unfortunately, we have a bunch of young people who don't remember 9/11 because they weren't alive. I wrote my book as a history book meant to wake people up and remind the kids of today that their parents, who were children when 9/11 happened, they all came together and wanted to fight for our country. Yes. And they need to remember that. So I wrote this book because you remember where you were on 9/11. Do your kids know where you were?
That's a great point, and it's gonna be tragically 25 years on September 11th of it. And you've got kids out there that are 18, under 25. Let's think of what, under 30 years ago, because when you're fighting, and there's a friend of mine that was like 2 years old when this happened. She's 31. She doesn't remember. You don't understand how it felt that day. It was the first time a whole nation felt like you lost a relative.
It was present day Crowe. And that's what it was. And there's a person that we know, who has a huge following on Instagram. And very cool, like, that was his home. And I saw him do this video about let Bengali in, who he is the epitome of what we said we would never forget. We have forgotten, and it's also spread. So
Nobody was not listening.
Was it too?
Well, the F-16s that afternoon I got home, the F-16s were flying around the house. And I go back in and I sit down and my brother called me to make sure I was okay. And I'm like, fine, I get over the phone with my brother and I sit down watching the coverage. That was about 6:30. And I go, you know what, I gotta make dinner. And I woke up and it's 2:30 at night. I'm sitting mesmerized. You couldn't put your head around what was going on. You had to watch it over and over again and you still couldn't put your head around what was going on.
and some of the Democrats want to blame the United States for what happened on 9/11. So I hear that next. But he's like, wow, talk about maybe the victim and maybe I keep seeing that that's the recurrent thing that we see a lot now. And 9/11 is one.
So, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert on 9/11 as much as I researched how people reacted to 9/11. I don't talk about really what happened that day, except for the fact that my cousin worked at the time, and he told me how he gathered evidence for really, I guess, the FBI. So there's a chapter in the government about how that worked, and it's just very interesting. I read about the Patriot Act that took away our liberties and took away our privacy and right in front of our faces. So all of these things were designed to make us not trust in our country anymore, not trust in each other, and we also ended our trust in our safety that we always took for granted. We never thought anything like that could happen, and when it did, it scared our young people so much. I believe it sparked off the drug epidemic, just trying to, make sense of the world, and that's why we have a lot of children being raised by their grandparents. We lost a generation because of 9/11.
We're gonna put a speaker on so you guys can hear a little better. And I'll tune this out. So tell me if you can hear. That would be awesome.
He never has. He never has. And I also think with these kids grew up where you don't have to work. Study. Work was not a dream to them. I mean, we were all working. I'll speak for all of us. We were all working 14, 15 years old. We realized that we work hard, we can make money. These kids were coddled and never worked. So they go in the world and they expect payment now. They don't want to work for anything. Oh, well, rent is expensive. We'll get a third job and figure it out like we did. And I know it's a little tougher for them, but have that ingenuity to figure it out. You're not going to get free stuff. It's going to cost you more in taxes. They don't understand. They're not old enough to understand.
Right, and not only don't they understand it, they are basically want to change the government so that they can have free stuff.
So I would
2
prefer
seconds, and
not
then I'll
to
put it on
raise
Jill.
children because I see it's the parents who told them you can't do it yourself. They make them feel useless and helpless by giving them everything. Yes, helicopter. Absolutely, absolutely. And that destroys a person's will to do for themselves. They're basically being told in not so many words that they don't have the ability to do for themselves. They're too dumb. They're too whatever. They're not good enough. And that's where you raise a whole generation of people. I wouldn't say they don't want to work. I say
And we'll be right back.
Yeah. Now you'll be able to hear Jill now.
All right, so basically, I'm going to do
Yeah, we're good. Very good. Thank you.
right back in. And I'm very
Now you'll be able to hear them well.
I mean, the Patriot Act is, that was, very, isn't that where the FISA applications were actually able to, discourage residents from? Wasn't that application? And that's, yes.
thank you up much, man. I'll come back to me. I'll go into pass it to go to oh, we're talking about that now.
Are you a true American?
Oh,
It is time to download the America First Media television.
the second
Stay up to date with so much stupid
I don't know if we're gonna get into that, but there was
from national broadcasters and exclusive shows.
that things was great, and I think it was hard. It's second and fourth, we don't get to it, but I also
It's with the juicy communism.
Download the America First Media television app.
1 minute.
yeah, what I'm saying is, but it's almost to that effect.
I'm sure you guys are like, not listening to Justice for All, We're coming out with Anthem of the Free, with high risk and dangerous prison fire. Coming out now, it's free sale until December 19th and drop. Get yours on all platforms, Google Play, Apple iTunes. Get it.
So we're at the First American Warehouse in Crowe, New York, and we've been live streaming for the last 2 days. So this is where we're at. It's the most patriotic land in the world. It's America First Warehouse.
Good evening and welcome back to Variety True. I'm Joe Curry. We have our guest here, Cohen. We have the Patriot Box. We got Bonnie Scalise, and we have Mark White out in the Zoom land. And what we like to do first, in a second, we would like to play Asset 2. And this is a moron that doesn't like fireworks. Let's take a peek.
What are you celebrating? You just want to see fireworks? Okay, they're burning thousands of dollars in the sky, and that money has gone towards food. Money could have done anything, but you're watching thousands of dollars being float in the sky for pretty colors. What are we celebrating? The 250th anniversary of what? Of what is? Look around. Independence Day? We need to be independent from our government. That's what we need to do.
I just have to say something. I know you said to feel sorry for the children, but when I see something like that, it's very hard to feel sorry for somebody like that.
But
You want to slap somebody.
the thing about it is she's got to be 18 or 19 in college. Ask if she taught her anything in history in school.
No, they don't teach the history that we grew up with. They don't mention 9/11. They don't, if they do, they barely cover it. It's not on the test. Anything that's not on the test is not important. So, and I'm telling you that as a kindergarten teacher over something, 31 years of kindergarten. And at the end, they start testing them, and then,
So Bonnie, basically, this is your fault. What
I
you've been teaching children properly.
I had those children singing that song, How to Be American. Every single morning, we said the pledge, we sang, they
because it was the first time I'm live streaming in a while.
I think my door's open, I'm not there.
Yes. Yes, it is here because you don't hear the air. You don't hear the air.
It made me feel good because I at least recognized that it didn't change so much. Because when you're five, they don't do
This would be cool. You expect them to like wear underoos and have an AC?
Yes, they do change.
It's under the casino in Atlantic City, they're gonna put their head down on the blocker table for a nap for 5 minutes.
But as far as getting back to that girl and what she's saying, how come when there's billions of dollars of fraud, when they're spending all these studies, our tax money on that, they have no problem with it, but the fact that Trump made an amazing,
You just said
you
Trump.
know,
Trump. Anything with Trump is bad. Okay? It's Trump or racism. It's as simple as that.
yes, yes, absolutely, so that's why she has a problem with it. You know what, like if you don't want to watch the fireworks, turn away, don't turn the TV on, you know, it's like when we had Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I turned the TV on, I couldn't deal with it, I didn't like.
No, I can't hear it.
I was sad that I had, in my opinion, terrible leader and vice president. I didn't hate my country.
It shouldn't be that hard to hear. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, the 50 years ago, I'm showing my age, 50 years ago, for the 200, I was, my mom worked for a legal law firm in New York City where we had a beautiful vantage point overlooking the East River. And you had a lot of people that were first generation Americans there in tears. This one guy on the maintenance department, I worked for him for 2 summers when I was a kid, out for hours, very nice man, was in tears. He was first generation and he goes, I so love this country. And he was so happy. He was in tears. A lot of people.
We gotta fix that.
And I don't understand, I think if you're coming here illegally, you don't understand the process to go through. You don't understand what it means to be an American. And it's just disgraceful.
What is that?
They never had a war that, you know, unless they volunteered,
It's whistling.
they had to sacrifice anything for. So as far as 9/11 goes,
I'm gonna try to get it better for you guys. I got it.
because, you know, he's gonna be in charge of that.
6 minutes yet till
What do you think he's
I can put anything to fix it.
even talk about it or bring it up? He always talks about Islamophobia, and people are afraid to talk about it because, oh my God, you're Islamophobia, you're racist, and this and that. So what is he gonna do?
I think he's going to ignore it, quite frankly. I think he's going to say as little as possible, and we're not going to hear
He
it.
might not even show up.
He might not even show up. I think he's going to ignore it. Quite frankly, if I were him, he might not. I would not show up either. I mean, just in his mindset, he doesn't win on that. He can't stand in front of New Yorkers and the world and say this was a tragedy. He can't do that. Or
Or is he double talk?
he doesn't believe it. Or he'll do double time. Or he'll just turn around and blame us all for it.
Now, an interesting question is, how is that going to affect the Democratic Socialist or the Democratic Party, where they need to really get back to the middle? If Madonna doesn't say anything, that is a very bad optic for middle range Democrats. We've got midterms coming up, right, 3-4 weeks right after, and it might turn so many people off to the Democratic Party because the Democrats, the middle Democrats are really speaking up against the Democratic Socialists. You know, so when people see, if he doesn't show up, it's going to have a big effect. Where that's the last straw, and it's going to be it could be a very big win for the conservative Republicans. There's not that many of them.
But, Mark, are they all in New York City? Like, for, like the.
I mean, they're all, I mean, Texas has blue states, everything in Texas is blue, but like, when, what was his name, Beto, whatever his name was, he was running, and I was on Twitter, and it appeared like he was winning, like, I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna become the governor of Texas. But then my friend was like, yeah, don't worry about it, he's just nobody. So he lost, and I couldn't understand why until I looked at the numbers. And the people in the states and the cities in Texas, they don't outnumber the people in the rural areas. We have more people out in the rural areas, and the cities only have a few. I mean, Houston has a couple million, but all the other cities, if you add it all up, it doesn't match.
That's the same problem in New York. I mean, you have a majority of people that want to vote for Bruce Blakeman. But the worry, and I told my family, but the cities are outnumbering the rural areas, with the exception of maybe 3 cities in New York State, everything is a rural area. And the numbers are not big enough. So the key thing here is that we have to get to the key cities and get it through their heads that Blakeman is the way out of this. Hochul is going to destroy the state. She's already done so much damage. We need to stop it. We need to get that. And once again, everybody that's watching, that's in New York State, who is upstate, and here, get that word out. Talk
And
about it.
get out and vote.
And get out and vote.
A lot of people that are Republican, unless it's a presidential election, they don't vote, they stay home.
Yeah.
So it's so important that they go out and they vote red.
Yeah.
And on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, I suggest everybody talk about it and what happened, especially in this city where almost everybody knows somebody, if it wasn't their own relative, who either perished, survived, is sick, has died ever since then because they walked through asbestos that day. I mean, this is a city that is marked by 9/11 in every single corner of it. And we also, don't forget, we have Pennsylvania, Shanksville, we also have Washington, D.C. So there are 3 places in this country that are going to wake up on September 11th. I guarantee you, they're not going to let this 25-year just, we forgot.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
And that also, to my other point with Mike, if at Shanksville, you bring up a great point, in Pennsylvania, it might be a turning point back to a Republican conservatism.
Their Pennsylvania's turning red anyway. In the middle of Pennsylvania, Indiana County is all red. I know it for a fact. I go there all the time. I was there last year, and there were a lot of people there. But this year, they're going to fill that field up.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I put money down that Fetterman changes parties, because he's had it.
I don't know if he'll change parties, but I know that he's okay where he is, because we do need somebody like him on the left.
Common
At
sense.
least there's one.
At least there's one, and also, like we saw in Manny Dami's speech on the birthday, 250th birthday of America, I could not believe the words that were coming out of his mouth. So I want to know, what is he going to say on 9/11? I'm going to be tuned to the television, and I'll have some like balloons that won't destroy the TV that I'll throw at the TV, because I have a feeling it's not going to be good.
It's like, there's nothing that he can say that will be good. Think about it. If he's silent, it won't be good.
His supporters will riot if he says something good. So he's afraid to say something
He
good.
doesn't think anything.
He doesn't believe it anyway.
Right, he doesn't believe it. And I think that this is actually the point that has already been made, is that he is going to show us all what he thinks of us. He is not an American. He was not born in America. He does not think he's American. He does not act like an American. And we're all going to see his true colors on that.
Yeah, and it's like, open your eyes, everyone, and see what's right.
I think that's going to be a
And
day.
we will be right back. See you then.
Me, Billy Fox,
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We'll have a real tough time here. Yep. I'm up. I want to see if I can do the iPad over there, so you guys can hear it over there. It's
I'm gonna leave my book here if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
Escape from New York.
I ordered all this little shirts. Like they
Yeah, you gotta hate that.
My man came and just put his flag, says, no one cares, we're going.
Frankly, how you doing? Don't you worry, I was on my
Well, speaking of the opposite of their stepfather, these people have powers that are huge and they're everywhere. And while you're traveling, you can use these huge powers. PatriotMobile.com/in place of the right. I don't know. PAFW. And then you can talk about me.
Asset free, lead on with that, and, yeah, and then after the asset, we want to go ahead.
Yes, so yes, the thing first.
Jamie?
You got a pizza space?
Camera, so when you're talking.
It's makeup.
You look lovely, it's not like I went, what the hell? Alright, man.
Exclusive shows, comedy nights, concerts, special
Uh,
events. It's all ready for fingertips. No filters, no spin.
yeah, we got,
Download the America First Media.
oh, that's Walkway. Walkway. Oh, yes.
Me, Julia Box, John DeBlaney with the America First Podcast. That's what I'm talking about. The Premier is coming to you from the America First Warehouse. Welcome everybody to the Game Justice Show. Here with Mark
Your sports? Here you go with your sport. Welcome back. I know. You're white. What's wrong with you?
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Red, Right, and True. I'm Bonnie Springs. I'm global Joe Curry, Patriot Fox, Mark White. And we're going to get to asset one, and then we're going to introduce our guest, J.D. Crowe. And we're
Asset three.
Asset three, sorry.
That's Tracy Spanish. Asset three.
Trace.
Good morning, New York. Everybody say Eagle Live on three. 1, 2, 3. Eagle Live.
So was that another language she was trying to get them to say, Mark?
I don't know what she was trying to get them to say, but I was definitely on that train. I would be like,
Yeah, oh, yeah, and everybody's there, they're all afraid to say anything. You know, speak up for your country, shout them down. They have no respect, they don't want to assimilate, and I get the argument all the time, man. I used to get on my old show, we used to argue with cats and go, well, it's religious freedom. You wanna know something? You're free to practice your religion, but you also are free to try to assimilate. And then well, the Hasidic Jews, either, but they assimilate.
They don't bomb buildings.
They don't, yeah.
They don't destroy.
They don't try to kill you over their religion.
But I want to introduce our guest for the second half of the show, J.D. Crowe. And
Oh, Jamie, great.
We're talking about speaking up and trying to fight for our country. You were at January 6th, am I correct?
No, it wasn't January 6th, it was thereafter. By the way, Mark, happy birthday. I won't forget.
thank you very much.
The birthday party.
Keep rocking on, baby.
I'm doing my best.
So what was your role? What did you?
I supported January 6th, after January 6th. I knew what they did down in Washington, D.C. They marched because they love the country and their voices needed to be heard.
And basically what Joe was just saying about people have to start
They
standing
don't,
up.
people
tried
don't
to-
stand up.
They tried to make them examples. When they did stand up, they went after them with quite a vengeance. They arrested people.
72 officers were served in that crowd, posed as Trump supporters.
And if I may again, I have a friend who was in the FBI. And when the FBI wants to investigate somebody, what they will do is the field office will go to Quantico and say, we would like to conduct this investigation. And that's the way they do it. That's the way we've always done it. For the first time, Quantico was going to them and going, we have a list of these people we want to investigate. So if you think this wasn't weaponized, you're out of your mind. It absolutely was, because they freaked out because the people, they know that they've been screwing us over for years, and they realized that there was a tipping point that we weren't putting up with it again. And it scared the hell out of them. They wanted to make it so it never happens again, that our freedom of speech and our freedom to overtake tyranny is never going to happen.
So Jamie, can you tell us about the different things that you saw and then what you did to make it?
Well, I went down probably a month or two after Mama Mickey started vigil down in
And who was Mama Mickey?
White House.
Okay.
She is one that's actually Becca's mother.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. Very good.
She knew that Ashley would want that support of these systems. That's what she wanted because she was a vet. She loved this country just as much as everybody else did. The people that run the DC jail were the veterans or, they were really great people. They were just pointed.
We had Rob was on our show twice, and he was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Army Ranger, and yeah, he was in jail for doing, being a patriot.
Just being a patriot. Stand up for the country. But waving the American flag, or just, standing on the Capitol steps. Some of them went in, but they didn't break anything, they didn't do anything, they peacefully went in the Capitol. Because they were left in the Capitol that day. You can open those doors, you can't open those doors from the outside, you can only open those doors from
He
the
was
inside.
let.
They were there.
Absolutely, and it's like, the media made it seem like it was, the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, they barely mentioned the peaceful protests that were going on, like, the year before. That was okay, and there was not a lot of, retaliation for the people that were actually doing real, like, they were burning cars on the street, they were doing businesses, and they downplayed that so much. And then this happened, January 6th happened, and it was like, you would have thought it was the worst thing that ever, it was another Pearl Harbor in there, the way they were pushing it. Am I wrong about that?
I think it was worse than our POWs being killed.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah, and people go, nothing like this ever happened. Basically, it had. You had the Civil War veterans that weren't getting, that stormed Washington. You had World War I soldiers that stormed Washington because they weren't getting, their benefits. You wanted them early. So this idea of the people, after all these finally speaking up, is nonsense. They had this, and the media ran with this, would ruin the narrative. So, these were people that were protesting and that were,
I'm gonna come out of the box here for a second.
there you go.
Basically, are you saying that the media and the Democratic Party misled us, lied to us?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was not an insurrection.
Absolutely. And it's going hand in hand. They're having one hell of a problem now with democratic socialism. Yes, sir.
Also, the whole thing that's going on with the guy with the Nazi tattoo. I mean, first you see the woman on the train in the video, so you have all the Muslims and then Gandhi, and then the other spectrum is this guy with the Nazi tattoo. That was okay with them; they smoothed that over. Then he was accused of rape. That was okay; they smoothed that over. And the real reason that because again, Patriot Fox and I always see things as a whole. They have decided that he is no longer the candidate, not really because of any of those reasons, but because his polling numbers were low. So they have to get
I think they have to do it. But again, you're pointing out that, oh, his polling numbers were bad, so they sacked him. They did that to a speaking president of the United States who was in their party. All right, so if they're going to do it, if they're going to do it to the president of the United States who's in their party, what do you think the limits and boundaries are?
They have no limits and boundaries. Exactly. And also, when we talk about the media, we marching hand in hand with the Democrats. When Graham Plattner got elected, okay, when Graham Plattner got nominated, it was on Fox, and that's all they were discussing. So I'm like, I wonder what CNN is discussing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I have to say something. When Patriot Fox and I were watching the Trump's speech, before that happened, they had different bands playing. Very patriotic, beautiful music. I said to him, let me go over to CNN and see what they're playing. And they were playing it. And I was like, wow, they're actually playing this on his 150th birthday. Then Trump got us. And I said, let me go to CNN and see if they're playing his speech. Go to CNN. What do you think?
No, they're showing hiding.
They were just talking. I love that. No, Trump. It's like, here's our president making a speech. Do you think that if I don't know that he could make a speech like that, he couldn't actually do it, but if that was Biden, would they have cut away when he was making a speech? Of course
No,
not.
they wouldn't, and Fox would have showed it as well.
Yeah, well, that's the difference.
Yeah.
That is the difference.
Yeah, and it's a shame how biased they are. And their ratings are tanking. Their ratings are tanking. Because you know what? People are getting sick and tired of hearing how bad their country is when they're seeing things that are tangible. I mean, things right now with the war is a very tough thing. I believe we needed to go there. It's terrorists, we have to knock them out. You're negotiating with four different branches of government, three sectors. So one guy is saying yes, one guy is saying no, but we need to get it done. It needs to get done.
I'm gonna just throw something out there. Donald Trump has 11 grandchildren. You know what? He doesn't want to see his grandchildren in a world with Iran, with nuclear weapons.
And I want to say something about his speech. I was very upset after I saw him in the Army, and when Trump got up after that, and I got to, because I'm really scared of the direction that the country is taking with the socialists, the social Democrats, whatever they want to call themselves, they're commies. And Trump said these words that made me feel so much better. He's like, we will never become a communist nation. And I have faith he has 3 more years. I think he, like Patriot Fox was saying, he doesn't want to see this country turn, and we're going to lose our country. So he's getting the same back. He has to get that through. Because if you don't have an election where the results are really true, you don't have a country anymore. And we see how they play with it already. Imagine if he's out of office and somebody else gets in, then it becomes like a circus. Maybe that's where they call themselves a big tent.
I think President Trump is the best person we've ever had.
He is by far.
And we will be right back with Red, Right, and True.
The America First Ultra Manga Store.
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 assets. Right.
And a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra Manga Store.
Great. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 assets. We're gonna be right back in. We'll right to that asset 5. Okay, very good. Hold that thought, my dear. We're gonna roll with that.
Hey, Paul, I'm getting a bill fight with Regina White.
Hold that thought.
Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news.
Look from there,
All voices in my class from the America First.
well, and I don't, it's a kid, it's neither anyway, it's no big deal. But but he doesn't like,
No filters.
On anything that's
Just America First. Download the America First Media and Television
it's
app.
like, what is wrong with sir? Ice cream. Mayor, there's no curry. What do you say? She's so gullible, I have a field day.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed because there was nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Good evening and welcome back to Red, Right, and True. I am Joe Curry. We have our guest with us, Jamie Crowe. We have the baby Bob. We got the lovely tan, Bonnie Scalisi, and we have Mark White with us. And what we'd like to do with our last segment of the show, we're going to go to Asset 4. Now, it's going to be bullying people on the 4th of July.
Why are you guys bullying other black people because it's their birthday on the 4th of July?
Because they're miserable and being angry and feel like they're alive. Then why wouldn't we celebrate July 4th to build this country? Why not just enjoy? Please believe other people's decision on their day off.
Yeah, I mean, it's like July 4th is for everyone who loves this country. And that's what it was a celebration of. Mark, you picked that video. What's with what's on it as far as, like, I think that everybody loves just the holiday. And this is an extra special one. And if you don't love the country, you know, don't celebrate with the other people. Just leave them alone. Stay home. Stay home. Exactly.
Are you done?
Yes.
These people have never been to other countries. That's the first thing. Once you go to that first one, once you go to another country and you say stupid stuff like that and they kick your ass, then you're gonna realize how much better you have here in this country. A lot of people that love the country, they have videos on YouTube where they're like complaining that they made a mistake. Because this country doesn't have the best infrastructure, some of the other countries where things are a little better. But what we have here, nobody else has, is freedom.
Can somebody explain? Absolutely. I mean, it's, again, a great point about saying that we are not grateful for this country. Is they have nothing to compare it to. And I really feel that maybe this is what is competitive. They waste so much money for what an education. They should take these people, young people, and let them go to another country, pay for their ticket, make them stay there for like 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks, and pay for it, and then let them come back and they kiss the ground when they came back.
But you know what? A lot of them,
Some countries further away. Some countries you'll be like 2 hours.
Exactly. I don't, if you want them to be murdered, like, you can send them to some countries so they learn the minute they got off the plane. But, you know, it's just like even going to Europe. I mean, I went to Europe, I did my student teaching in England, and then I toured Europe after that. And I did not the differences of, you know, this is years ago. In England, everybody has the same little house. It's almost like they look like little other houses. They don't have houses like that.
they don't. As a matter of fact, I've
Is
had
that social? It's like,
yeah, my wife showed us came over from Italy, and they came over to my house. I had at the time, a 4-bedroom house on an acre of land in Huntington. So the relatives from Italy came over, and they were walking around my house taking pictures. And I'm like, I grabbed my leg, I go, what are you doing? And she goes, you don't understand, they don't have houses this size in Italy. So we take for granted what we have here.
They did. To them, it's a barbecue and having, a lot of beers. That's all it's.
If you don't look, I watch the History Channel all the time, and they had a special on the forefathers. They were just normal people that got together that wanted to make this country better. And they put a lot on the line, and especially when the Revolutionary War started, we were getting our butt kicked, and you look at what Washington was going through at some points, and you're like, what are we doing here? But they believed, they marched to Valley Forge. There was blood in the snow because their shoes were falling apart. They believed in this.
And all the Beatles left England because they made a lot of money, and they would have to give almost all their money to the royal family. And they didn't want to do that. So you love communism until you're successful. If you're a loser and you don't want to do any work, you want everybody to have the same exact thing, then
And a lot of these megastars. Okay, there's a megastar going back out now. One of the biggest there is. Going back out, I talked to keyboard players a couple of times at the club. Okay, and we mentioned this guy. You go, well, he's a very liberal, but he goes down when it comes to his finances. So at the end of the day, when it's coming out, you can pontificate all you want, but when it is coming out of your pocket, you kind of change your tune, and you kind of hide it.
Didn't De Niro leave New York because of that? He was so such a good card, and then then he realized that all his money's being taken away by the.
Where's it going? Where's it going? They're taking my money.
Now, this is just a personal obsession of mine. I only have it. I'd like to get to asset 5 because this is one of my favorite things that I see.
Hold on, that's going to be asset 6.
Asset 6.
Asset 6.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a video. Okay, so it's
No, it's just
it's a meme.
No, it's just a meme. Bonnie, explain why you love this so much.
Oh my God, I love it so much because I don't watch sports or anything like that. She's a women's basketball player, but she was goalie on the court, and her friend was being sticking up for her friend, and a fight broke out, and all she did was point her finger the whole time. It's because there's so many words, and calling different names, this and that, but basically she was like, I am not even going to bother with this. I'm just going to point my finger at her. She just pointed the finger at her for 22 seconds, and it sent a message, and it went viral. And and then you can make memes about everything, because why not? You just pointed them. So, Socialist Mandami told everybody in that heat wave to 78 degrees.
78 degrees.
And the very next day, Taylor Swift was, and he said, this is turned into 78 degrees. And then the very next day, Taylor Swift was getting married at Madison Square Garden. All the elite Democrats who kiss their ass and love all this bullshit. Do you think Madison Square Garden had their thermostats set at 78 degrees for Taylor Swift's wedding? I think not.
No, and you want to know something with Taylor Swift's money?
I point the finger.
Yeah, you're gonna turn it to somebody. Look, I'll cut you a check. I can buy this place. All right, get Jim Dolan on the phone. I'm gonna deal right now. I'm not gonna. It's gonna be 65, but it's 70 or nothing.
City Hall was 61 degrees. Big empty, government building. They didn't, remove. You know why? Because that's them. And the 78 is yours.
Exactly. Now, Jim, you got a book called Over the Wall. We're running a little short of time, so you can tell us.
That's coming out. That's telling the story of us being out on the corner and what we did for 900 days. That from still not every single day. son had to be in the tunnels, and the state of Florida was in the tunnels, pushed back, and they dominated her. And she fell backwards. One of the worst police officer, people we have to like, we don't want to hear about that. No.
No, but you do hear, you bring up the officers that were killed that day, they did not die that day, he died, maybe weeks later. It's tragic, but they always try to bring it around to, officers got killed and,
Now they care about police officers, right?
yeah.
And that was a phenomenon. You don't know that it's not wrong. Once he gets arrested, there's a whole lot of things going on. And I think it's when it starts, Donald Federer's over. Hey, I hope we are, so they, we're finding and
Well, good, we vindicated Giuliani. So suddenly everything is a contradiction to things, and it's coming out. He wouldn't let the press charges during that period.
no lie, this whole thing, but I can't. It's the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yep.
So much different. They cut out the parts that nobody wants to see.
Yeah, and also the subject of Jill has her book, which is called Like It Was Yesterday, and it's been very good read on that. There's a lot of information in that the media did not tell you. So please go get her book. There's a lot of information on that you need to know that. And that's where you find. That's like you trying to find information on anything. You need to go 8 pages back on a search, and that's where you start to find the truth. And we have more truth coming up. Truth, fine. Where are you going to be?
Well, I'm going to be somewhere tomorrow. I'm in a Republican, we're trying to raise money for Bobby Higgins, who's running for office. And we're going to be at Battle Street. And so look up on our Facebook page, Bonnie's Policy. If you want to show support for turning us red. SCALISI. And then on July 16th, I'm going to have Joe and Teresa from the warehouse on my other podcast on Ghost Radio in Levittown. We're going to be live at 6:30, July 16th. So I'm really looking forward to that. And thank you so much for being
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
They asked me that, we need to support January 6th right to the end.
Absolutely, and stay vigilant about that. And we're uncovering more things about January 6th. So stay vigilant, America, and thank you
Stand up.
so much for watching Red,
What you believe in.
Right and True. Have a great night. Take care. Good night.
We'll see you all next week. Thank you, Mark. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Mark. Enjoy your birthday, pal. See you next week.
Oh, we're not doing that.
No, they're
Mark,
not.
me and Michael are going to Atlantic City.
Where's the debauchery?
I know, but I can only go on Tuesday for windows with my son. That's the only day my daughter can watch it.
Yeah, so we got.
So thank you, Mark. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, Mark, enjoy your birthday. Oh, by the way, love the heartbeat banner.
Yeah, I'm taking off my mic.
Take it off, bitch.
Take it off.
You take that.
Hi, Mark.
Dirty money. Can we get a quick picture for the video?
Yeah.
Hey, folks, Bonnie, why don't we take a quick picture with everybody? I'll take the red right
Everybody
through.
coming up.
Garrett, you know we are technical.
I can tell.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I don't want to live there. I don't want to
So pretend I'm going home to Santa, I don't want to get you many years. So then I go.
Okay, guys. Picture.
Change up. And I'll keep midnight waiting here.
All right.
We got a red rock shoe right here in front of us. Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I would say if you live in Staten Island,
Go to Staten Island, okay.
because you're on the South Shore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it seems crazy to go like that.
Well, GPS is
Okay.
bring it to New York City.
Cheap, we can teach Staten Island, like, first, you know.
That's the way you go to the city. You go to the city, you just, especially now, though, it's not having light. These guys on the bikes, you don't stop. If you hit them, now you're getting sued for evasion. I did. Thanks for everything. No, that was, Steve,
He would just come up to my group and every time I get at something, I have a group also. And every time I do something else that he tried to bark. So I was like, I was patient. And then I was
Now, I can show you, well, there's only 2 years on here, but that's okay. I can show you around here. Here's the American Warehouse. American Warehouse is the most patriotic in the land. If you ever come here, and you will be with open arms here. It is the most patriotic, and we'll go through it later again. But here it is. And this is only this is not even a quarter of the warehouse. Very good. Very good. All right. I love you guys. I will talk to you in a little bit. See you soon. Let me just thank you all. I love you guys.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I thought of.
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.